Chris Shirk from the Toronto Crime Stoppers program, and thanks for joining us for this week's Crime of the Week. This week we're out in the Jamestown community to launch our new initiative with Toronto Community Housing, our signage program. The sign initiative between Toronto Crime Stoppers and the Toronto Community Housing Corporation is to promote awareness of the Crime Stoppers brand. Specifically, to remind everyone that if you call Crime Stoppers, you'll always remain anonymous and you'll never need to go to court. The signs also contain the contact information on our website of 222tips.com or via telephone 1-800-222-8477. That's 1-800-222-TIPS. Here's a quick message from Troy Amos Ross as well as some clips from today's news conference.
Well, I'm here and I want to speak to the community and everyone at large. The fact is, my niece has passed away. She was only 14 years old and inspired to be anything she wanted to be. She was a kid at 14 years old and she's passed away. And what happened? This is a senseless death. Something that could be something like this that could have been prevented. If you know anything, we want you to call in. Call Crime Stoppers. Give them the information. It's anonymous. You do not have to give your name. They're not going to trace your number. All they want is the information to help stop something like what has happened to me and my family and my 14-year-old niece from dying a senseless death. If you have any information, just give them a call.
All right. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today here in the heart of the Jamestown community on this beautiful afternoon. So for those who don't know, my name is Vincent Crisanti. I'm the City Councillor for Ward 1 and Deputy Mayor for Toronto West. And of course, it includes the community that we're in, Jamestown community that I represent. And with me today, we have Greg Spearn, who's the President and CEO of Toronto Community Housing. We have Sean Sportun, who is the Vice Chair of Toronto Crime Stoppers. And we have with us Troy Ross, the uncle of Lacent Ross, who was tragically taken away from us recently. They will share with you details of a new partnership that I am confident will have a huge impact on taking back communities citywide. A short few years ago, we had only a couple of dozen working cameras right here in Jamestown community. And with the support and the full support of Greg Spearn, we have since installed 74 high-resolution cameras that are working and ready to provide helpful information to police. But that alone is not enough. Anonymous information obtained from the community could ultimately help connect the dots that would assist the police in solving crimes faster. And now, I am pleased that Toronto Community Housing and Crime Stoppers have joined forces to bring empowerment back to communities across the city. Looking out for one another plays a major role in living in a safe and healthy community. So it is important that we participate in ensuring we keep our community safe by providing information that could avoid putting families at risk. So at this point, before we continue, what we're going to do is we're going to put up the very first Crime Stoppers sign on a Toronto Community Housing property. And assisting us to do that is Dominic Maugeri of QP Local 416. And we have the sign right over here. So we can begin that right now and bring the sign over and install that. There we go. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the very first step that will not only help empower this community, but communities across the city of Toronto. So I'm proud and I'm pleased to be here watching this happen. And at this point, I'm going to call Mr. Greg Spearn, who will come up and say a few words.
Thank you very much. We at Toronto Community Housing are very pleased with this new partnership with Crime Stoppers. We believe that together we can get the word out that one person can make a difference, that one person can help stop and curtail crime in our communities. Just as the police need information to be able to make a case to arrest people, Toronto Community Housing needs information as well to be able to evict people who are hijacking the safety and security of our communities. So with this partnership, we feel there's another avenue and another way that we can help protect our communities. So we encourage everyone who lives in our communities, please, please, just make the call. It's easy. Think about it. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to today's announcement of the partnership between Toronto Crime Stoppers and Toronto Community Housing. As mentioned, my name is Sean Sportun, and I am the Vice Chair of Toronto Crime Stoppers. Toronto Crime Stoppers is a partnership between the public, the police, and the media that provides citizens a conduit to anonymously provide information about a potential crime without fear of retribution, with the potential of a cash reward of up to $2,000. But very often when someone hears the words Crime Stoppers, they automatically think the program is a police-run initiative. This is a common misconception and one that is far from the truth. In reality, Crime Stoppers is a not-for-profit community-based organization responsible for the decisions related to all tipster rewards, program operations, fundraising initiatives, and promotional awareness programs such as our Cash for Guns campaign. The volunteer board of directors are concerned citizens and come from varied backgrounds, but all have a common goal, a safer community. They give freely of their time and are committed to stopping, solving, and preventing crime in the neighborhoods across the city of Toronto. Since our inception in 1984, 31 years ago, Toronto Crime Stoppers has received over 121,000 tips, resulting in more than 11,000 arrests, just under 37,000 charges being laid, $62.5 million in recovered property, and over $330 million in illegal drugs being seized off the streets of Toronto. As you can see, the program works and has been instrumental in helping change the face of criminal activity in our city. Crime prevention and community safety is a shared responsibility in which we all play a role. The announcement of today's partnership with Toronto Community Housing is a proactive step to promote awareness across the network of properties, to educate residents on the Crime Stoppers program and provide them with an option to anonymously report criminal activity taking place in their communities by calling our tip line 416-222-8477. This collaborative awareness campaign will include meeting with residents, developing youth outreach activities, including a youth positive ticketing campaign in partnership with Max convenience stores, the installation of high-impact signage bearing the Crime Stoppers message, and the distribution of public awareness and educational materials. Through this initiative, it is our intention to help build trust and break the culture of silence when it comes to crime and unreported criminal activity for safer communities across the city. So I ask the question, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Start today and begin to make a difference by breaking the silence. If you have information about a crime, like an individual with a gun, call Crime Stoppers anonymously at 416-222-8477. Remember, you remain anonymous. Criminals don't.
I would like to introduce Troy Ross, who is licencié en col, as I said earlier, as well as a two-time Olympic and former world-ranked boxer, to say a couple of words. Troy?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's very hard, and we thank everyone for just all your well wishes. It's been a very hard summer for us, and it's just been very tough, and we're just trying to get through these days. People always ask, "How are you doing?" We're doing fine. We're trying to cope with it, but at the same time, I've lost my niece. My brother and my sister-in-law has lost their daughter. It's been very tough for us, and I'm happy to see that Crime Stoppers is here and on board in these communities. We try to urge everyone out there that have any information, it's anonymous. Call in. You don't need to be cool to stand back and watch another person pass away or die, or to prevent a crime. We're just here, and we want they're here and they want information to help prevent a senseless killing like this that happened to my niece. She was only 14 years old. A young girl inspired to do great things, and now she does not have that dream.
Thank you so much, Troy. And you know, I think the message was very clear today that it's a collective effort to have safe communities, to protect communities, and now we have resources and we have tools that will help us protect our communities even more so. And so we should not be afraid to step up. We should not be afraid to pick up that phone and make that call.
So when somebody calls into Crime Stoppers, the information is taken, the information is reviewed, and what we would call scrubbed for any identifying features that may be in the context of whatever is being given. That information is passed off to the police, the division, or the investigative unit that it would be relating to. And then what we ask is that the tipster call us back within 4 to 6 weeks and find out if there is a resolution to the tip. If there is, the board of directors would have assigned a cash reward to that tip. We will give them what we would call a banking information number, and they can go to any bank, any TD bank in the city of Toronto, and collect that reward without showing ID, without identifying themselves or anything like that. There is a misconception that Crime Stoppers is a police program, and therefore they don't call because nobody wants to talk to the police because it's not cool. And then you do have, you know, the youth part of that where they don't want to snitch. And we need to break that cycle. Just like we would say for kids that are being bullied, come forward, tell somebody you're being bullied. What's the difference between that and somebody being shot and killed, right? You want those people to come forward. If you know information, you don't necessarily have to speak to the police and be, you know, an in-person witness. We offer that avenue to remain anonymous. Give us the information that you have that could lead to an arrest, because that could be important pieces of the puzzle that the police need in order to solve the case. We want to be able to educate. We want to be able to walk through the process. We are looking at doing a video from beginning to end of when a tip comes in and how it happens in the process, and then how do you collect your money, if you even want to collect it. Let's remember only 30% of tips that we award are ever collected, which tells me that the community, when they call in, they're doing it for the purpose of a safer community, not to get quick cash. And that's all part of the reason why we're here, is to break the myth and educate people and make sure they understand that it's anonymous, make sure they feel comfortable calling us with whatever information they have.
The signage awareness program will also be followed up with community safety lectures and brochure distribution in the neighborhoods. Remember, at Toronto Crime Stoppers, you stay anonymous, crime doesn't.